they got to get after it over the next 5 weeks on their own and come back ready to run, because you can't fake it in the MIAA. So if you don't do what you need to do over break, we're going to be playing catch up, and we're not ready for that. So we need to take care of business over break and be ready to go that first weekend.
I'm excited for the future. I think that we have some good pieces coming in, and sometimes frustrating seasons. I thought we had frustrating season at time, and those losses it does more good than harm in this case.
It's really all those moments that it's just the 12 of us, and we're in practice or we're in film. That's where they're really, really special. So it's fun to watch them kind of go, wow, we really can do this. That's the most rewarding thing as a coach.
We got to focus on getting that process back, that toughness back, that discipline back, that locked-in, dialed focus back, and not worry about the dang results.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on a Monday, December the 9th, 2024, a finals week on the campus of Missouri Western State University, and for a number of seniors, graduation week for the fall semester coming up this Saturday. So good luck to all of our Griffons studying and test taking, and congratulations to all of those Griffons who will be getting their diplomas this Saturday, 11 a.m. at the Looney Indoor Sports Complex. We're also closing in on Christmas, aren't we? 16 days away, and with that approaches another Missouri Western tradition, the 20th annual Griff's Giving Gifts event, which is going on tonight, this afternoon and tonight. And Missouri Western Student Athlete Advisory Committee for many years has been a big part of organizing and executing that, and we thought we'd bring up two members of the Missouri Western SAC Committee. Vice President of Missouri Western SAC, Missouri Western senior kicker of Missouri Western football, Cody Watson, and outfielder from Missouri Western softball, Mackenzie Devine. Mac, is it your senior year already as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I
Yep.
thought so. Okay, well, welcome to you both. Good to be here. And guys, pretty amazing that this the 20th year of Griff's Giving Gifts, and y'all have raised a record $6,000 to go purchase some gifts and toys for families in need. 11 families being helped in the community through AFL-CIO Community Services of St. Joseph. Cody, I guess just starting with you, what a year, what an effort there. What can you say about the effort of all of SAC to get this done? I mean, $6,000 to make some Merry Christmases this year.
Yeah, I know. I would say that at the beginning of the year, we kind of looked at it and we were like, we want to do something that we haven't done before and really set the bar for the future. So we wanted to raise more money. We wanted to start a new campaign where we went out to businesses of the community, raise money with them so they could support people in their community as well as we did the student athlete campaign, which is a big hit. So the goal was for every athlete to donate $1. And so for every team to get 100%, then we have a prize for them today that we're going to get out to them today. And then also the coaches came back and donated it and matched that pretty much.
Nice.
And then we had matching donations from the athletic director, and then coaches matching their position groups and stuff like that. So really was great to see an all-around effort from everybody.
That's fantastic. Now, Mackenzie, walk me through how this is going to go today. You guys are pretty much going to hit the stores this afternoon and then deliver gifts tonight, right?
Yeah, so at 3:30, we are going to meet in the Hall of Fame, and then we're going to go out to the
Pull that
North
mic
Belt.
just a tiny bit closer. There you go. You're good.
Yeah, we're going to go to the North Belt Walmart, and we're going to shop for all the 11 families. We'll break off in the groups and shop for them individually. We'll come back, and we'll wrap all the gifts, and then we'll go deliver them. We might have a Santa, an O-lineman dressing up as Santa, to deliver the gifts to some of these families. It's just an incredible thing that our student athletes get to do. It's just such a blessing.
Yeah, and yeah, you both have been a part of this for a long time. Cody, this is your 5th year on campus. To be involved with this, you know, obviously you're very involved with Student Athlete Advisory Committee, but this event in particular, I feel like it gets maybe the most attention, the most notoriety, press coverage from the community, and rightfully so. What a great thing to do at this time of year. To be involved with this for as long as you have, just what does that mean to you personally?
The only thing looking back on my career that I wish I would have done differently is started doing SAC and stuff when I was young. Like, I didn't really start much until last year. And then Griff's Giving Gifts was, like, my favorite event last year, without a doubt. And then, like, this year we just wanted to make it even better.
Yeah.
And so, like, advice to young guys, I would say, like, go do something that you wouldn't expect to do because you never know what will pay off.
Yeah. Mackenzie, anything else to add on what's going on tonight and just your kind of history with this?
Yeah, I think I was kind of pushed into SAC. It wasn't something that I sought out on my own, but it's given me such a great opportunity to dive in the community and be really a part of it. And I think it's great that our student athletes get to be a part of it, but all the background stuff that you do just to prepare for this is also just as rewarding.
Yeah. Well, approximately 7 o'clock tonight, that's when the Griffins Missouri Western Student Athlete Advisory Committee will go around 11 families across the city of St. Joseph, partnering with AFL-CIO. And again, congratulations and a big hats off to everyone who donated to the cause, a record $6,000. So pretty nice budget to work with there to help give some families in need in St. Joseph a Merry Christmas. So Mackenzie Devine, Cody Watson, thank you for all that you're doing for our community and student athletes, and thanks for coming up.
Thank you for having
us.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Mackenzie Devine and Cody Watson of softball and football to lead us off here on the GSI podcast. It is the 20th annual Griffs Giving Gifts going on here today. Of course, we got a lot of other business to get to over the next hour. Men's and women's basketball open conference play on the road Tuesday at Northwest, which was a phenomenal night. And then we were home on Saturday against Emporia State. We'll be breaking down those games. No competition of any kind this week because it is finals week, but we do have some more games coming up before the Christmas break, so we'll touch on that a little bit as we go throughout the show. Missouri Western Indoor Track and Field opened its season with a couple of events. The vast majority of the team was in Maryville for the Mel Churchma Classic, and then a handful of Griffins who performed quite well were at the Washburn Alumni Invitational on Saturday in Topeka. Cody Ingold is here, and he'll discuss that with us. Of course, one team wrapped up their season. It was just on Thursday. It feels a lot longer ago than that, just given the traveling we did, but Missouri Western Volleyball was in the NCAA Central Region Tournament in St. Cloud, Minnesota, taking on Concordia St. Paul. And yes, it was a Concordia victory in 4 sets, but a season that ends at 23-8, a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, the first tournament bid in 7 years, and 15 people set to come back from that team. The future is quite bright for Missouri Western Volleyball, and Coach Jessica Fye will be here to talk about that future and all those good things with us later on in the program. So that's what we've got going on. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll lead things off as we normally do with indoor track and field. Coach Cody Ingold will talk to us. 3 Griffins were at the top of the podium on Saturday in Maryville with victories, so lots of good things to talk about with Coach Ingold regarding track and field. That's next on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, and you're watching it and listening to it on the Griffon Sports Network. We'll be back right after this. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, this is the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach, leading off, we did lead off with Missouri Western Student Athlete Advisory Committee and their Griffs Giving Gifts program, so thank you again to Cody Watson and Mackenzie Devine for taking time out of their busy schedules on finals week to come and talk to us about that. But we talk about more business at hand. Griffon Indoor Track and Field getting the season started this past Saturday with the Mel Churchma Classic in Maryville, and also for a handful of Griffs, the Washburn Alumni Invitational in Topeka, which Cody, I believe you were in Topeka with a handful of Griffins, but in Maryville, Mackenzie Garr, Lillian Cutler, Pau Valderrama, all with some gold medals. Mackenzie, of course, winning in shot put, setting a provisional mark there over 15 meters. Alyssa Mahoney, Bella, placing 4th in shot put with an NCAA Provo mark there too. But then in those distance events, Cutler, a victory in the mile, a time of 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10.45 seconds, excuse me. And then Valderrama winning the 5,000 meter run, time of 14 minutes, 59.69 seconds, edging out second place by 12 100ths of a second. So 3 victories, lots of medals, lots of PRs, and lots of provisional marks too. Just thoughts on the opening weekend?
I thought it went well. You know, I wasn't there, so that was hard to follow. Not hard, it's easy to follow. Yeah. But not knowing how things are going or like what they look like. I thought it went really well. You know, we had a couple things we missed on. You know, I think I told Bella I thought it was a good opener, and I'm sure she's mad. Which is good, though. It's not that she's not content. But Jordan's group went into that meet with the idea that we're not here to, you know, win national titles. We're here to see where we're at and hopefully throw well. And they didn't taper for it. They're still in a heavy training cycle. So I was excited for that group. You know, some freshmen really showed up. Some, you know, those freshman sprinters that wasn't sure where they were at, and I thought they did pretty well. So that was fun to follow. Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. You know, Pau ran by himself for almost the entire race, and a kid caught him, passed him, and he told Coach Goose, he's like, I'm not letting this kid do all this work and let this kid pass me and beat me. So he outleaned him at the line. So he's in way better shape than that, but he doesn't run well by himself, so that's fine. And Lillian, I don't know what the next closest person Lillian was, but it wasn't close. Yeah. So I'm excited because that's the fastest she's ever run in college, and it's exciting because now we get some people around her. Hopefully she can pop off something big. I think she can break 5, which would be huge for the program. But yeah, Mackenzie's was a school record too. I don't know if you said that.
Oh, I did not. No.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I didn't know that. It's with indoor and outdoor, I always get them confused. But
yeah,
school record for her and
15.08 meters.
Yeah, so it was a good weekend.
Yeah,
there. And then Washburn was a little bit mixed bag. We watched Batman run his 3rd and 4th fastest times ever.
Yeah,
he's currently ranked in the top 10 in the country, which doesn't mean anything. It's opening weekend, but we tore his race apart, me and him, like looking at it, like how it was the sloppiest race ever, and he still ran really well. So that's a good thing because we know he can get better. Tyrese had some really, really good jumps. I think got mismeasured on one, and he probably would have been like 14:30, 14:20-ish. So that's exciting start for him. And Haley Sampson, I think, PR'd by almost a half a meter, foot and a half.
Yeah.
So, and she's got way more in the tank. And Abby Henry, let me tell you about a nervous person.
Yeah.
She looked terrified the whole weekend, and she jumped really, really well. She wasn't worried. She was worried she wasn't going to make the pit in the triple jump, and she made finals. So it was fun. It was fun to watch that group jump and compete. It's just I don't like split squats because I want to be there for everything. And I wish I could have been there for Sammy's race because he ran his fastest opener, second fastest time ever, and we were trying to run 150. And I think if I'm there, maybe I can get in his head a little bit more and have him ready to run. But that's okay.
Yeah. It's hard to be both places at once. And in Topeka, some really good performances like you were talking about. Haley Sampson, 4th in long jump. She PR'd in 60-meter dash. Alex Thompson, who you alluded to, 60-meter hurdles, a second-place finish and a provisional mark at 8.12 seconds. And then Tyrese Dutton-Bacallo, 3rd in triple jump. And then women's triple jump, Abby Henry placing 5th. So, a lot of medals, a lot of good times, a lot of PRs. And in the case of Mackenzie Garr, a school record. Well, we don't get to talk about another track meet for at least a little while. You'll be back in Maryville January the 18th for the Coach Alsup Invitational. Holiday break in there too, but obviously this is routine in indoor track. You get the kind of the rust buster, like you said, in early December, and then some more weeks to.
And then you have to
train.
rust bust when you get back.
Yeah,
too.
Train and prepare. So, that being said, seems like a good start in many different ways. Just what do you tell the athletes as they take finals, go on break, and get ready to regroup next year?
We started our break when they got off the bus. So hopefully they do fun finals, take care of business finals. They're gonna take a down week or two, and then it's up to them to make sure they get work in over the next 5 or 6 weeks. So
something like
they
that.
gotta get after it over the next 5 weeks on their own and come back ready to run because you can't fake it in the MIAA. So if you don't do what you need to do over break, we're gonna be playing catch up and. We're not ready for that, so we need to take care of business over break and be ready to go that first weekend.
Yeah. So are you buying airfare then to New York for the bowl game on December 28th? Is that what I'm hearing?
No. I am. I actually bought a car.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I bought a 1989 Mustang GT50.
Oh, wow.
It was the first car I ever owned. And I had probably not enough time on the podcast, but I was listening to a podcast of a famous pro runner, and he was going to offload it, and I just shot my shot, and he ended up getting me in contact with his dad to buy it. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's like a hobby car right there.
Yeah, I will not be allowed to spend money for a long time, unfortunately. But it's a cheap rebuild, so
good.
I'm excited for it.
Well, that's great. Well, congrats on that purchase, and congrats to your Griffins who competed quite well over the weekend in Maryville and Topeka. So we won't, it'll be a little while till we get ready for another track meet, January 18th, a Saturday in Maryville for the Coach Alsup Invitational. Cody, happy holidays to you. If I don't see you, I guess maybe you'll be back next week. I'm not sure, but we'll see you around. Thanks for the
Tommy.
time.
Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Cody Ingold joining us here on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Let's shift gears, and we'll close the book on a very successful 2024 Missouri Western volleyball season coming off of their appearance in the NCAA tournament. Jessica Fye will join us to talk about all that next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill here on the Griffon Sports Network. We are back on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. What a great crowd today at Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph. I'm Tommy Rezach, talking Missouri Western volleyball now with the head coach concluding her third season with us, Jessica Fye, and third one was the best one yet, 23-8, and a berth into the NCAA Central Region Tournament for the first time in 7 years. Faced with a pretty good matchup, Concordia St. Paul. If you know anything about volleyball at this level, you know that they're historically kind of a Goliath, the 4 seed, and it was the Golden Bears who beat us in 4 sets, 3 sets won after the Griffins looked really inspired out of the gate, taking that first set 25-19. Concordia going on to win the next 3. Emily Loy, 18 kills. Emma Salker had a brilliant start, 13 kills, 2 blocks in the end. And Nessa Johnson's swan song with us at setter, 35 assists, 14 digs. Coach, I know not the result you wanted after such a good start. Let's just start inside of that match. You know, you're hitting it at a pretty high clip. Emma Salker's kind of figuring things out. It seemed like Concordia maybe a little bit conservative at the net early, just kind of easy touches, not swinging super hard. And then they kind of turned it up a notch, sets 2 through 4. Just thoughts on how Thursday went down.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we started off well. I think that we definitely met experience down the road, especially with number 17, Emma Schmidt. She definitely showed us why she's an All-American after that first set. But, you know, we got a little of experience, which is good. You know, obviously we wish we could have just carried over our set 1 momentum into set 2 a little bit easier. But like you said, Concordia kind of started to turn on. They gave us a lot of points in that first set, whereas the second set we just could not get our offense going. I think we only had 8 or 9 kills in that set, which is not good. And so we had a good mismatch with Emma up with a left side that typically wasn't playing for them, so she was able to utilize that mismatch, which is good. But then their mismatch was 17 was up with Nessa, so we had to switch some things around, which kind of hurt Emma's offense down the road. But slowed. We were hoping was going to slow 17 down, and it didn't. So you know, we learned a lot. You know, it's good experience. It's a great opportunity for us. Obviously, we never want to go and lose, especially in the first round. That's like just cringy to me. Like that happened to me a couple times. It's like the worst taste in your mouth until next year. So I'm proud of them, but wish we could have competed a little bit harder down the road in those last few sets.
Yeah, and the MIAA still dancing. Central Oklahoma did go on to win that tournament over the weekend for what that's worth there. And it seemed like, too, their setter, Tegan Starkey, who's quite good, seemed like maybe she was struggling early, and then she adjusted, and things were just kind of clicking for their offense a bit more, too.
Yeah, I think that they were making an adjustment with that one switch that they made in their offense. Like they were kind of off balance that first set, just trying to figure out the flow, because they've been pretty consistent with their lineup all year, and then they made a switch on the outside for I'm not sure what reason. So I think they were just kind of adjusting, and then they finally kind of got that momentum a little bit.
Yeah. Well, 4 amazing seniors leaving us. Obviously, we know Nessa is particularly big shoes to fill. Haley Schultz, who's been here 5 years and on down the line. But that being said, just like this year, a lot of people coming back. 15 people set to come back. Basically all your attackers. You're starting libero, all-conference libero. Big shoes to fill at that setter spot, we know. But when you think about, the growth and the long-term outlook for this program, a sub-500 record your first year, now back-to-back 20-win seasons, back to the NCAA tournament. I mean, the bar has been raised, and there's some good people here helping you raise that bar.
Yeah, no, we return a lot. Like you said, we have some shoes to fill. But there's a great opportunity with loss. And we lost a lot in that senior class, but I'm really excited to see what returners kind of fill those shoes, and I think we have some ones that want to fill it and that will fill them. And so, I'm excited for the future. I think that we have some good pieces coming in, and sometimes frustrating seasons. I thought we had frustrating season at time, and those losses it does more good than harm in this case. Whereas, sometimes you need to be really frustrated and you need to be coming up short a lot against those great teams. And that's happened to a lot of these returners 2 seasons in a row. And this year we were really competitive. We were in really great spots and we let them slip through our fingers. And so, Andy, texts me a lot after games and he was like, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. I'm like, when the heck is it going to pay off? I'm like waiting for it. So it didn't pay off this season, but I do think it's going to pay off in the future. Because they're just going to be hungrier next season and they aren't going to want to fall like they did this year.
Yeah, 4 losses in 5-set matches. I know that was one thing that stuck out. But, I mean, another thing that sticks out is, a win over a ranked Regis squad, a win over a ranked Washburn team, beating UCO, the eventual MIAA and regional champion at home. So certainly some great memories this season. I mean, beating Central Missouri, that hadn't happened in a long time.
Sure.
And that happened this year. So many good things to happen. Well, do you get a break with the holiday coming up, or is the recruiting effort pretty much already underway?
Yeah, we'll be pretty busy these next couple weeks. That week of Christmas, things will die down, and then we'll pick kind of right back up, especially if we're trying to get some transfers and stuff. So definitely a little bit of downtime, and then hopefully we can kind of get done with the recruiting part of it and then enjoy maybe January a little bit
for
before the
sure.
girls come back.
You mentioned transfers. I think you had said on this program before that you feel like in your career maybe you haven't had as much luck with the transfer portal. I mean, you look at your roster. I mean, it's all people that have been here 4+ years. Some were under Marion and now 3 years under you. I guess when you go out and recruit future Griffs, how do you kind of balance that developmental strategy versus who's in the portal?
I definitely prefer the developmental strategy. I like to see kids evolve over 4 years. I like to see kids, get to know them a little bit better. But every once in a while, there's time for immediate help. And we're in a spot where we had a successful year, and typically you're able to get that immediate help a little bit easier with wins, with tournament appearances and stuff. So we're going to try to take advantage of our success and hopefully be able to bring some impact players in.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I think I speak for all of us here when I say that you, Izzy, and this entire team did us proud this fall. That was a heck of a lot of fun to cover, and look forward to more. Thanks for the time this year.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Jessica Fye joining us to wrap up a pretty great 2024 Missouri Western volleyball season with more out there to get for these Griffs, no doubt. We'll shift gears. We'll go over to basketball. Missouri Western women's basketball. That's a team doing a lot of winning right now. They picked up 2 wins in their first 2 conference games. Get a little over a week off, and then they got a good challenge coming up next Tuesday at McKendree, a team that is still unbeaten at this moment. So we'll touch on all of that when we return. It's it's the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Network. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, talking Missouri Western women's basketball now, 6-3 overall, 2-0 in the league, winners of 4 straight. What an exciting week it was for this program. And it began 6 days ago, just up the road in Maryville, taking on then 9th-ranked Northwest Missouri State. We'll see how the polls shake out this week, but the Griffins came in there and, kind of to quote Coach Ashton Feldhaus, who joins us now, in terms of this series, they're still Missouri Western. The Griffins get off to a great start, play some terrific defense, and 28-11 from Alyssa Bonilla helps too. 57-48 the final score, and always a tough place to play, raucous environment in a rivalry game to kick off conference play, Coach. What an appealing game to begin this MIAA slate. We knew it'd be a big challenge, but man, did your team rise to the occasion. Just thoughts on a very satisfying night Tuesday.
It feels like forever ago
I know,
at this point.
I know it.
But no, we were so proud of our kids. You mentioned it, Alyssa. Such a clash of styles. We play fast. They try to cut the game, the possessions really in half. So I thought we got out to a great jump, but as every good team does, they pushed back. And we talked about that to our kids too. First media timeout, we came over and said, hey, they're about to make a push. It's who's going to be able to withstand. And I thought we did a lot of good things. We made it kind of impossible for their post player to have any impact in the game. So I thought our 5s, although they're not true 5s, did a great job. And I think that's something that coaches realize, when you're watching all these ball screens happen, they're the ones who are stopping the guards and getting back to make sure that they stay between her and the basket. So, and then Alyssa, obviously, she's just getting better and better. We had her this morning for an individual, and we just said, hey, we're going to make a player out of you yet because she won't go left. So I still think there's improvement to be had all the way across the board. But what a fun way to start conference for sure, and a confidence boost for everybody.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and a game that, a game in which you're playing an opponent that hangs their hat on rebounding and defense for Missouri Western to still play with their fast style, but also, win the battle of the rebounds. You talked about your bigs, Jaden Champ blocking 3 shots, helping on the interior net. Alyssa Bonilla, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 5 steals, first career double-double. So, the cherry on top right there.
Yeah.
Back home on Saturday to take on Emporia State. Now, credit Emporia. They went and beat Northwest on Thursday in their home floor, and a former Griffon coach in Brian Osterman leading that team in his second year. And, I think Emporia, that's a team that they've kind of been hovering around that 500 mark the last few years, but we know it. They've got some good players, particularly their guard, Katie Harina, and early on, they're battling. They got down early. They make it a game, but then we just kind of pulled away down the stretch. Made a lot of free throws. Alyssa Bonilla, again, going off for 27 points. At the end of the day, it's a double-digit win, 80-66. Halftime, it's like you're kind of going like, man, we were up by like 14, and now it's within 5. Third quarter, you feel like things kind of took over. You hold them to 6 points on the defensive side and pour in 22 more in the fourth. Just thoughts on how your team handled the ebbs and flows on Saturday.
I didn't think we played great at all after going back and watching it, just because we had so many opportunities to just push the game from the 12 or 14 point lead to 20, and you kind of just let your foot off the gas. So some of that's immaturity, having not been in those scenarios. We turned the ball over entirely too much, and we just missed some easy layups, like uncharacteristic of us. So I didn't think we put them them away when we had the chance. But you're right, we made plays when we had to. They got in that zone, and we put our 5-foot guard right in the middle of it, and she just kind of tore them apart.
Yeah.
So, no, we made adjustments coaching-wise, and I thought our kids did a great job coming out of the half making adjustments. But we've still got to grow in the maturity standpoint as far as just putting games away. You're up 14 and give them a challenge. Hey, next media, we're up 20.
Yeah.
And it requires getting stops and then scores. But it's hard to do that when you turn the ball over 22 times. So we did some great things, yes, but also a lot to work on from that one.
Yeah. It's probably not super common to put a guard who's about 5'3", 5'4" in the middle of a zone, but my goodness, is she a nucleus. I mean, she can distribute the ball. It seems like she has a knack to know where it goes. I mean, kind of just talk about that decision to put her in that position there in the high post.
We had practiced their zone all week in practice, trying to simulate, we have the 2 teams 5-on-5, and we had never put her in that position yet. We had gone with some of our stronger guards, with Marie, with our forwards, with Cassie and Jessie, and then we got to the game, and they don't really see the floor like she does, and that's special to a point guard. So we kind of talked about it at half, and we just said, we'll just stick Alyssa down there. Marie does a great job handling the point when Marie has to slide off, when Alyssa has to slide off the ball, and then as soon as we got the ball in there, she just is a great decision maker. She kicked it for 2 threes in the corners, and then she had a couple layups, and then a couple little jumpers that we usually don't take, but when you're in a zone, that makes you kind of take shots that are a little bit out of our comfort zone. And I thought she did a great job. And then they got out of it, and then we went back to executing 5-on-5. So, yeah, I think those are just things as games roll along, you make adjustments as a coach, and I have no problem sticking a 5-foot guard in the paint there and letting her do it.
Fantastic. And when you got someone on the perimeter like Matilda Soderlund who can give you 5 of 8 from 3, that certainly helps too. Tilly was 17, Cassie Karen 14 and 9, season highs there for her. 12 points for Marie Sepp, and a career high 13 rebounds for Jessica Ford. So some really great performances all the way around. You look at kind of this journey this team's been on, you winning those first 2 games, and then, let's face it, in the middle of November, there were some trials for sure for a multitude of reasons, but this team picks itself up. You get that win over Lincoln, you come out of the holiday and just pick right back up, going 2-0 in the league. And like you told our media team, we're still Missouri Western. We're still proving to people that, we belong in the upper echelon of this league. But for your team to kind of come off that tough Colorado trip, a loss to Concordia, and all the things that have happened, and to string together this run that they're on, what does that say about the character of the kids in your locker room?
The character, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's the people that we have. We went through a lot in a span of about 2 weeks for our program. Our travel was kind of brutal. We played some really good opponents. We had a lot going on in our locker room. So to withstand some of that, it says everything about their character. And we to say it all the time. It's fun when you're an outsider looking in. You're like, oh, it's a tiny team. They look like they have a good time, but it's really all those moments that it's just the 12 of us, and we're in practice or we're in film. That's where they're really, really special. So it's fun to watch them kind of go, wow, we really can do this. That's the most rewarding thing as a coach. So we have the right people in place now, and now we can actually focus on basketball. And I really felt like for a couple of weeks there, we couldn't. We were working on effort. We were working on attitude, and it's all new. So some of those growing pains are with new coaching staff, new players. But I couldn't be more proud of the character of our bunch that we have, and they're kind of taking on a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They enjoy representing what's across their chest, and we talk about that all the time. So the way they've been able to turn a leaf now, and now we can get on them in practice, and we are working, and we're fine-tuning skills, and we're just going to continue to get better. And then we're going to hit another roadblock, as all basketball teams do, and it's how we push from that. So I couldn't be more proud. I love the 10 kids we have. They just work like that is they're just workers, right? And we might not be the most skilled, but together they're fantastic. So I'm so thrilled for them, and I'd like to end going into the break on a high note as well.
Yeah, and 5 of those 10, I forgot to mention, just real quick, 5 of those 10 getting honored before the game on Saturday with that MIAA championship ring presentation, and a few alums, Camille Evans, Johnny Gonzalez, Connie Clark back to partake in that, so a really neat moment before the game on Saturday. Well, we get a few days off here for finals and things, and then it's back on the road for a pretty good team. McKendree in Lebanon, Illinois, out of the Great Lakes Valley Conference. They're 7-0. They beat Illinois Springfield on Saturday. Plenty of time to get ready, but another exciting and challenging opportunity ahead right there.
No, it's fun. It doesn't get any easier for us, which I think is exciting. So we have something to work towards. I like having this week here for finals because we can spend a couple days on our Emporia game, which we need. A couple days in individuals with them, and then we turn right around to a great team, undefeated to this point, and much different than what we've faced. Not a shooting team necessarily, just going to attack our feet. I think we double them up in the amount of threes we've attempted. So another clash of styles, but a great team nonetheless, and a good challenge for us on the road.
Yep, they're the Bearcats. They are 7-0. So an out-of-conference, out-of-region team, but a very good Division II team, certainly, that we'll be facing on the road. That is set for Tuesday, December 17th at 5:30 p.m. So Griffins will, I don't know if you enjoy finals week, but they'll go through finals week, get some rest before heading back on the road for what will be the non-conference finale. And then we come back after the new year with a terrific MIAA doubleheader at home. Kearney Hayes, you know Kearney Hayes. That's always going to be big games in women's basketball, that's for sure. But for right now, Missouri Western can enjoy this momentum, this win streak right now, 6-3 overall, and off to a 2-0 start in the league under first-year head coach Ashton Feldhaus. Coach, congrats on the results, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tommy.
There you go, Ashton Feldhaus joining us on this part of the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. We'll keep the basketball talk rolling. Is Will here, Brandon? Do you see him? Is Will here? No, not yet. Okay. Well, there he is. Speak of the devil. All right. We will take a break now, and we'll come back talk men's basketball with Will Martin on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Keeping it going on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, talking men's basketball now with the head coach in his 5th season, Will Martin. The Griffins now 8-2 overall, 1-1 in the MIAA, and just like our women's basketball team, the Griffin men opening their conference season at Northwest Missouri State on Tuesday night. Obviously, it's always a big deal when you go there to play that program, particularly when it is your first conference game, but the Griffins did not flinch, get off to a good start, withstand some runs from Northwest, go on some scoring runs of their own, and ultimately win it 70-66 thanks to a Zane Nelson double-double and a Zane Nelson 3 with 12 seconds left to solidify the victory. And Coach, I know we'll get to Saturday here in a second, but just in the moment there on Tuesday, a place that everyone knows about the history and the streaks and not winning there for a long time, but I feel like all that's kind of secondary, right? You get to that 1-0 start in conference, you win that 8th straight, and just played well against a good team under a first-year head coach. Just thoughts on the effort on Tuesday?
Yeah, I thought that our guys were pretty composed and locked in going into that game. You try not to feed into too many of the narratives, but it's hard to avoid the truth that we hadn't won there in 16 years, and so you know that, and you try not to let that be the motivating factor as you prepare. But I thought that our guys did a good job of understanding the history, understanding the tradition, and then going in there and treating it like it's the biggest game because it was the next game. Mm-hmm. Not because it was Northwest, not because we hadn't won there in a while, but because it was the next game. And, I think that, not to jump ahead, I think we lost that on Saturday. I think that for us to be really good, for us to get the results that our players want and that the community wants, we got to be focused on our process and not the result. Like, probably surprising to you, I could really care less about the result. I don't have much control over that. You would think that I would, but I don't. I have control over our habits, our process, the way we attack every single day, the discipline that we have, the focus that we have, the toughness that we have. If you do those things, you'll probably get the results that everybody likes. But I don't really care about the result. Like, I don't really care that we beat Northwest or that we lost to Emporia. I'm pissed off that our process got diverted somewhere along the way. Our toughness got diverted somewhere along the way. And for us this week, we got to focus on getting that process back, that toughness back, that discipline back, that locked-in, dialed focus back, and not worry about the dang results.
Wow, yeah, well said. As the result on Saturday was a close one indeed, with teams going back and forth, 13 lead changes. Emporia State, even though, we kind of trade blows with them over the years, and that was just another one of those games where, the Hornets, they were just on the winning end with a little over a second to go. They hit that bucket and 74-72.
But they weren't just on the winning end. I mean,
okay.
Credit to Emporia. Coach Builder is a Hall of Fame coach.
Yep.
New coach now at Emporia.
Mm-hmm.
I've said all along they're going to be fantastic under him because he's an amazing coach.
Yeah.
But they didn't just win. I mean, we didn't do what we're supposed to do. And we didn't play defensively the way that we are required to play, especially in this league, to give us even a chance to win. We give up 10-0 boards. We turn the ball over 12 times. We blow 15 different coverages defensively when you watch the film and you break it down. And so we have to, again, get back to what's important, which is our process, our habits, our toughness.
Well, you got a couple of chances to do that. Obviously not this week with finals, but you got Kansas Christian on the schedule Wednesday the 18th, where up to a couple thousand local elementary kids will be in attendance for that Education Day game. Wednesday at 11 a.m. against Kansas Christian, and NCCAA team, and then Truman State December 21st, a team out of the Great Lakes Valley Conference. You scrimmaged against them last year, I know that. So a couple of chances to get back, to get on the right track, build momentum before we resume conference play. So that in mind, just these next two, do you see this as an opportunity to get back to those things that you talked about, getting back to doing the right things and doing the good things well?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be a very likable person this week. I think that we have to get back to, even talking with the trainers and the strength staff. It's like we can't worry about work overload and load management and all that. Like, what got us here was our toughness that said we're going to go in every single day and we're going to go hard and we're going to go 5-on-5 and we're going to dive on the floor, and whatever the result be it, let it be it. We kind of lost that, and that's on me. That's on me as a head coach. I think that we're preparing for Emporia State, and I'm having conversations with people about load management, and maybe we should only go for an hour today, and maybe we should. And look, if you have an NBA program and Anthony Davis is on there and LeBron James, you probably want to do some load management. We got to get back to just getting straight after it, Tommy. Really, really going hard in the weight room, really, really going hard on the court, because for us to be successful, that has to be our edge. We have to be that gritty team that today we're not afraid to go 2 hours, dive on the floor, get after it, because that's the identity that we want to have, and that's who we want to be on the floor. Not an 8-2 team, not a 10-0 team, not a team that beats Northwest, or a team that doesn't happen to lose to Emporia. We have to be a team that when we walk on that floor, we're going to give you hell for 40 straight minutes, because that's who we are. That's our process. Those are our habits. We're going to beat you to the floor on 50-50 balls. We're going to get every single rebound. We're going to box out every single time. We're going to be physical. Regardless of how the game's being called, we are going to get after it. That's who we have to be. And so this week, you can't, especially when you're dealing with 18 to 23-year-old kids, you can't just expect for that to, snap in on game time. Mm-hmm. And so, your question in terms of, this week and preparing for Kansas Christian, I'm not preparing for anybody other than getting this team back to where we're the toughest, grittiest, most edgy team on our schedule, where we're not worried about any results. We're not worried about winning a game. We're definitely for sure not worried about losing a game, because all we're focused on is being the toughest team on the schedule every single night. You got to play us for 40 minutes, and that's going to be hell for you regardless of what the result is at the end of the day.
So I'll ask you, when you prior to that Emporia game, were you seeing that team kind of mold the toughest team ever? Were you seeing glimpses of that steps being toward that goal during those 8 wins, or?
Yeah, I think that, people complain about this generation being soft, and it's on the parents and it's on the non-parents, teachers, professors, coaches that enable these kids to be the way that they are. So I think that our process leading into Emporia was a little soft. I'm not going to put that on our guys. I'm going to put that on me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put that on me in terms of, thinking we can go for an hour instead of an hour and a half, or I can cut out a couple of our tough man drills because, hey, we're 9 games in and we're healthy, and, the strength staff and the training staff, we feel like maybe load management, we need to do this or that. I'm going back to the old school way, Tommy. We're getting after it, man. So I'm probably not going to be a very likable guy in the office or on the floor, but, I think that that's what we knew this team was going to have to be this year. This team was going to have to be a group of 8 seniors and a bunch of other role players that were going to be gritty and tough and get after it and not worry about soreness and not worry about, playing a bunch of games in the month of November, which we didn't, and we went out and we took care of business, and so I don't think that, we can start to soften up. And so to your question, yeah, I think that a little bit. I don't think that, and not to overtalk.
No, you're fine.
I don't think that our process changed in terms of our scheme, in terms of the way that we drew up the practice plan, the details that we focused on, and it definitely didn't change in terms of our scout, in terms of how many hours we watched, how many hours we made sure the guys watched, going over what they did, making sure that our guys were clear on, what our scheme was, what our coverages were. That stayed the same. I think that we got soft a little psychologically and physically leading up to that game. I think that we turned an hour and a half practice into an hour and an hour practice into 45 minutes. And, I think that we did so rationally and with good intent. But what I'm telling you right now is we ain't doing that no more. Like, we're getting after it, and I think that that's who we have to be. And if we have a couple guys and I go into a game and Andrew Tholson, who is probably the best young strength and conditioning coach in America, who I absolutely love, if we're going into a Saturday game and he says, I don't know if we can go that hard on Friday, sorry, Andrew, we're going to be a little bit sore on Saturday. But you know what? We're going to be sore players that get to the floor first. We're going to be sore players that make hits on every single possession. We're going to be sore players, tired players that make the play every single time, because that's who we are. That's who we are. And if we have to be sore doing it because we go hard in practice and we go hard in the training room and we go hard in the strength room, that's who we're going to be.
Fantastic. I love that. Sounds good to me. And I think, time off, to get through finals and things, get legs under us, and then hit the ground running once again before another break on holiday. So I know this can be a weird time in the calendar, but a couple games coming up next week. Next Wednesday, we'll host Kansas Christian. That's an 11 a.m. start, with it being Education Day at Looney. And then Saturday, the 21st, we play Truman State at 3:30 before the holiday break. And then we resume conference play January the 2nd at home against Nebraska Kearney. Yes, sir.
By the way.
Yes, sir.
So, and I love you.
Yeah.
I've gotten 4 calls now.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, I've gotten 4 calls. So let me clear some things up.
Yeah. Okay.
Last week we talked on here about the flag gate, everybody planting the flags and stuff like that in college basketball. Like that was kind of the culture.
Yeah.
So Emporia beats us. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
We were ranked 17th in the country.
Yep. In the media.
Their team celebrated. Good for them. I'm good with that. I don't do that. But I will say that our guys have done that when we've gone and we beat, a top 25 team or a top 10 team. They're kids. They deserve to celebrate whatever. So I'm walking off, and their team is celebrating. I have ingrained in my mind Flaggate, which you and I talked about. So I fist bumped my boss. I did not say one word to another coach. I didn't say one word to another player. I was thinking administrator mode instead of head coach mode, because I'm like, let's make sure that nobody stomps on the Griff. They didn't. Emporia didn't stomp on our Griff. There was nothing. I ran because I'm fast. I'm really quick for a 35-year-old.
You are.
And I sprinted out there just to make sure that, if there was a situation, we would de-escalate it. But even better, let's not get to a point where I have to de-escalate a situation. Sure. Now, this is how it works. Typically, if a player sees a head coach, something goes off in their mind where they're like, okay. Then they, stat you in those situations. If I don't run out there, what's going on in my OCD brain is, what if they do stomp on the Griff and then Julius Dixon feels a certain way about that, so then he says something and then they feel a certain way, so then they shove, and then Andy gets an email, and then I got to meet with Andy on Monday. And so I've gotten 4 or 5 calls, people saying that something was said about me throwing shade. I did not throw any shade. I ran out there to make sure that my guys got off the court. I had no issue with Emporia. They won the game. They beat the number 17 team in the country. They can celebrate all they want. They weren't disrespectful. Coach Builder is a Hall of Fame coach, class guy, so I just wanted to make sure that I cleared that up.
Yeah, 100%. And, it's kind of, it's not uncommon for people to say stuff during the handshake line and things like that. So, I didn't. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you did that, and I'm glad it didn't get to that point that you just described. So, well, all right, man. We'll see you next Wednesday, I suppose. I know you'll do the roundtable.
We got a roundtable.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see you up there for that. Will Martin joining us after a big week. Hang on. Anyway, all right, we will be back for the roundtable right after this on the GSI podcast. All right, we're back on the roundtable of irrelevancy. It's an all-basketball roundtable with women's basketball coach Ashton Feldhaus, men's basketball coach Will Martin. Welcome to you both. Thanks for sticking around. Coach Fi, Coach Ingold, other business back on campus. So we thank all of our coaches for joining us today. Well, guys, I was watching a press conference yesterday, and a quote from it kind of stuck out to me, a football coach, and he said something to the effect of, quote, "When you're climbing the ladder of success, sometimes folks never tell you to stop. when you're happy. So I guess, that quote really stuck with me, a coach that had been up and down.
A coach that happened to coach in Nebraska.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's give the full context. Don't act like you just pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah, no. Happens to be
Mr.
Scott
Cornhusker.
Yeah. Happens to be Scott Frost making his return to Central Florida. But I guess I'm curious, as you guys, advance through your professional careers, was there ever like a quote or a moment from a mentor or someone you look up to that really stuck with you in your professional journey?
I mean, we say in our program all the time, I don't know where I heard it, but if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And we use it. It's on the back of my shirt.
Oh, nice.
And I'm from Kentucky, so the yours are wrong. But I don't think I did that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
we're missing an apostrophe. But no, we talk about that all the time in our program, and I actually do believe it. So.
Love that. Yeah. Will, you're always quoting like poetry and things and post.
Yeah, Will's much smarter and more articulate, so you got something better.
Yeah. Not a quote, but kind of along those lines.
Yeah.
I after we got fired in San Francisco, I had a couple opportunities, and the coach at Belmont at the time, he sat me down and he said, look, you've been a student assistant, you've been a graduate assistant, you've been a video coordinator, you've been in ops, but your passion and what you want to do is you want to be on the floor. And so for more context, I had like a video coordinator job at Texas A&M. I had something at Lipscomb in ops and all these like operation jobs. And he said, if you want to coach, you need to coach. You've already done all the other stuff, and it was necessary for you to get to where you wanted to go, and that was an important experience. And so he really encouraged me to take an NAI job so that I could get on the floor and actually coach. And that really changed, that was a paradigm shift for me, and it was one of the most joyful years of my life because I'd been, 8-9 years doing operations and video, which is great, and I would encourage any young professional to do that stuff. But I finally got to be on the floor. I finally got to go recruiting, and it made me look at this thing differently in terms of it's not necessarily the level, but it's about fulfilling your purpose, and you gotta figure out what that purpose is. And if you want to coach, it doesn't matter if it's high school, it doesn't matter if it's NAI, it doesn't matter if it's D2 Missouri Western or the University of Kentucky. Like, do what you want to do and what you're passionate about.
Fantastic. And that was it Martin Methodist, the NAIA?
Yeah, it ended up being Martin Methodist, which is now UT Southern. So.
Okay, cool. Very good. Well, sticking with some basketball topics, there was kind of a big regional rivalry played yesterday in Columbia between Mizzou and Kansas, and Mizzou ended up winning it 76-67. Obviously, no love lost there. Those two teams don't really like each other, and there was a certain expletive chant that they like to do. Well, we're not going to talk about that. What I liked there is Mizzou coach Dennis Gates calls timeout with 6 seconds left to allow Bill Self and his staff to get off the floor before the court storm. I just simply want to ask, you're both basketball coaches, is there any better way to handle what you know is going to be a big-time celebration than to allow the opposing staff to exit the floor safely? I mean, a pretty class move there.
You've probably seen that before. You've been, in all of that at Kentucky. So.
Well, I think one of the reasons why Anthony Davis hired me was we didn't have the opportunity to get off the floor when Indiana beat us on a buzzer beater. Oh. And, okay, now back to my nature, me sprinting out as a head coach. I was the only one, on our staff. There was a flood of Indiana fans, and everyone was trying to exit to the locker room, which was protocol. And I see our players out there, and they're getting grabbed. I run out there, and I'm grabbing our players, and Indiana fans are punching at me, and I'm making sure that we grab all of our guys. So, what's interesting is, and I don't want to over dramatize this, but I think that as fans, we watch the courts storming, and it's a really cool moment. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your players off the floor, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's extremely dangerous. I mean, I saw some crazy stuff in that mosh pit at Indiana, and so I think that was not only a class act, but it was safety and protocol. Yeah.
Ashton, anything to add on that? Or?
I would appreciate it because I have to wear heels. So if that would be the only reason. No, I think it's, classy.
Absolutely. Well, last thing, coaches, today you may not know, we're talking about Christmas with Griff's Giving Gifts. It's National Christmas Card Day. I guess I'm curious, are you guys appearing on any Feldhaus or Martin family Christmas cards? Do you send out your own? Any Christmas card takes today on this holiday?
You have a Christmas card? I don't know.
Amy Martin my mom was really big on it when we were young, but we haven't done them in the last 2 years.
No. Avens doesn't want to do one?
No, we're struggling. We're trying to start a family. So once we start a family, maybe we'll get them out there. But right now, it'd just be me and Avens really groggy and unhappy because it's only us and our Christmas card. the Scrooge, like bum hum, you know, and our cat, who it's Avon's cat, and so then we would fight about whether the cat's in the Christmas card or not, and I'd say there's no reason for the cat to be in the Christmas card, but then she'd feel like the cat's being left out, and then we get in a fight, and then it'd be typical holidays, you know, like it's supposed to be the most joyful time of the year, but everybody's all humbug.
Yeah, that unfortunately ends
Do you
up
do Christmas
being
cards?
reality.
I bet the Feldhauses do.
I was going to say, with all their coaches and athletes in that family, there'd be some really creative.
We used to do them with mom's cheerleaders and dad's players. Like,
Oh,
we used to
cool.
all be in the Christmas,
Yeah.
but we've all kind of aged out of that. And I'm not going to send a solo Christmas card. So
You want to do like a men's and women's
we should.
Christmas card
We
this year?
should, 100%.
Let's
I'd
do
be
it.
down for it.
All right.
Yeah, we can
Yep.
get that
We'll
arranged.
get-
That sounds
yeah,
good.
we'll
Yeah.
do that.
We got 16 days till Christmas. We can pull this off. Coaches, thank you, and yeah, great watching you guys this week, and we'll see you the following week, I guess. No games this week. There you go. Ashton Feldhaus and Will Martin filling our coaches roundtable. More like a panel than a roundtable today. Thank you to all the coaches at Mackenzie Devine, Cody Watson from the Student Athlete Advisory Committee for giving us some time to talk Griffs giving gifts. So look out for the Griffins delivering presents to 11 families across St. Joseph this evening, and $6,000, over $6,000 raised, which is a record. So hats off to everyone who was a part of that. Yes, we will have a show next Monday, December the 16th, to talk about a handful of basketball games going on. No competition of any kind this week on finals week. Obviously, we got commencement on Saturday. So our last show of 2024 is next Monday, the 16th at noon. So I hope you can join us for that. And then after our holiday break, the next show in 2025 will be Monday, January the 6th. So little programming note for you there. I'm Tommy Rezach. This has been the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, and you can subscribe all year long on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming. Have a great rest of your week.